Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. Okay, I'm going to get to the point quick and hopefully unedited. And we're going to talk about what's happening in Japan. Why do you need to know what's happening in Japan? Well, over half of the transactions of Bitcoin take place in this country. So when you talk about how does it affect the growth and the future of shaping the ecospace, I think that Japan is important. And you know, there is a language barrier, and also not a lot of the news that's happening in Japan gets over to the West. I have been in the Bitcoin space since January 2014, and I've been really happy with all the providers on YouTube doing a fantastic job keeping us up to date on everything that's going on. But unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of news coming from Japan. So I hope that in this video and in my future videos, you will be able to get that missing component. So please subscribe and hit the bell so that you'll know when a new video comes out. So let's get to it. The first thing I want to talk about is the Bitcoin space in Japan was recently rocked with the NEM hack. As you know, Coincheck was hit by some hackers that took $500 million worth of NEM. And just so you know, so you stay updated, that particular exchange is still locked up. In other words, there are coins, and not just NEM coins, but I mean everybody's coin is just not being able to be traded. So everything is suspended. And this is still a big worry because they came out and made a statement that they were going to compensate the NEM users, which was great, but that's been over a month ago and still nothing else has been said, nothing else has been done, and everybody's Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, everything is just frozen. So that's not a good thing. But the good thing that might have come out of this is now that the exchanges are going to start policing themselves. So Japan's cryptocurrency markets will start policing themselves starting in April. A unified self-regulatory body will be focused on rebuilding the public trust. 16 registered crypto market operators agreed to form a new organization and work with Japan's financial service agency to establish investor safety standards. Yay. Okay, so we don't like regulation, but in this case, Japan is kind of, the government is kind of taking a supportive role to help maintain a decentralized approach to regulating and allowing the exchanges to police themselves. I think it's a great step. I think it's needed because, as you know, we just not only had the NEM hack, but we also had the Mt. Gox hack in 2014, both of which have been just terrible. And it could happen anywhere, it's not just because Japan. So I think that you need to be paying attention to how they will set up their regulations, and hopefully this will kind of roll out among the whole ecosphere. So that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, secondly, Ivan on Tech. He had a really great interview with a guy from BDG blockchain. Yeah, BDG blockchain. DMG blockchain. Sorry, DMG blockchain. And his name is Dan Reitzik. He's really active. He's an entrepreneur, but he's really active in the crypto space. And so he is doing things with software, with AI, with forensics, and also doing mining on an industrial scale. What is what qualifies as an industrial scale? How about 50,000 machines in an undisclosed area in Canada? I want to see that, but you can't go visit because they have some proprietary ways they rack it and airflow, and so, you know, but you can participate. And what does this have to do with Japan? Well, Japan has a group of quite quite prominent and quite big. They're called Bitmasters. I'll do another video on the Bitmasters in the future, but this group is connected with Dan, and they are buying they're buying the machine, and the machines then are managed by Dan's mining facility, the DMG blockchain group facility up in Canada. And then as a miner, you get all the benefits of being a miner, but you don't have to manage the machines. So I think this is maybe a big wave of the future. And, you know, for those people who want to be a miner, but don't necessarily have the space or have the the electrical rates that make it feasible. This is a way to get involved and have someone else actually manage the machine. So you can watch this. The links will be in the comment section below, but it's a really fabulous interview. It's touches on all aspects of the cryptocurrency space that he's in, and it's quite broad, and I think you're going to hear more and more and more about him. So why also did he get my attention? Well, he has Danny Yang working for him in Palo Alto, and Danny has his master's from Harvard in science and his PhD from Stanford in computer science. And then he also has Tim Fellers. You might kind of recognize that name. He was with Uber. And he got his master's in math from Cambridge and a PhD from Harvard in science. And so, you know, these guys are quite interesting and really need to be paid attention to, because they are shaping this space. And it leads me right into the Goldman Sachs article that was written by the senior staff writer of the Nikkei. Nikkei is like the Wall Street Journal. And, you know, these guys, when they make statements about Bitcoin, they also have their effect on shaping the ecospace. And I just couldn't help but talk about what he said, because I just totally disagree. So the main purpose of the interview was to talk about, first, how Goldman is providing a globally important economic service by providing funding to companies who are going at the risk of bankruptcy. And okay, I can see that value. And in particular, Toshiba in Japan, who's had a tremendous financial trouble as of late, has used their services. And he was boasting, yeah, very proud, that he and his group of investors could bring, what was it, 600 billion yen, which is about 5.68 billion US dollars, to Toshiba and provide them capital to complete the sales of its memory chip unit. Okay, so, you know, he's like a vulture, and he's flying up ahead, and he sees a big animal down below that's dying, and he brings this animal in the Serengeti a little water to prolong the death. But in the meantime, while he's been able to keep this animal alive a little longer, he invites his friends and says, come on, there's going to be some really good meat here, and we need to just be ready for our feast. And yeah, I'm sorry, but that's how I see it. And I know he really wants to take his vulture model to China, because he sees that as the next big market. And granted, there's going to be a lot of people, I'm sure, that will need his services. But if he does that, well, good on him. But when it comes to Bitcoin, he's not in the Bitcoin space, so he, you know, just don't make those stupid comments. So I want to talk about what he said. He said, my bottom line is that I don't think Bitcoin, accomplishes any legitimate mission. Okay, I found a video you need to watch, 11 minutes, by Andreas Antonopoulos when he was in Helsinki. And he talks about some of the legitimate mission of Bitcoin. You know, if you know, Bitcoin wasn't necessarily created as a currency. It's not only a currency. The currency is just one of the applications that Bitcoin can do. As Andreas says, he talks about it's not about money, it's about trust. All right? Billions of people across a decentralized platform on a peer-to-peer, person-to-person basis can transact and communicate without barriers, without borders, blind to ethnicity, blind to nationality, race, religion, age, ability, etc. I think that this is quite a legitimate mission. It can scale on a massive scale without giving power to a few. So maybe he sees himself as one of the few, and he feels that he's losing his power if he is going to accept the Bitcoin world. Maybe, I think. Bitcoin is not a very good medium of exchange. Well, you know, there's 2 billion worth of transactions every day. This is still like 1992 of the internet. In 1992, there was only 10 websites. And today, there's more than 1.3 billion websites. So I really don't understand this good medium of exchange. In 2000, less than 1% of the sales ever occurred online. And in 2017, 13% of the sales occurred, in total retail sales occurred online. So we're just at the very beginning. I really just can't understand that part of his statement. And then he says, because it's very expensive. Well, of course it's very expensive. It should be very expensive. And you don't have to buy a whole coin. I don't think he knows that, quite honestly. I think he thinks that you have to buy a full coin. I think all of you know you don't have to buy a full coin. And yeah, it should be expensive. You know, what is it that if we look at the dollar, and this is really kind of some scary stuff. When you look at the dollar was able to buy in 1965. Where's my number here? In 1965, oh yikes, where is my gold? Where is my gold number? In 1965, here we go. You could buy with $1, 889 milligrams of gold. Today, you can only buy 25 milligrams of gold. That's a 97% devalued loss. You know, it's so he talks about this is expensive. It should be expensive. And then he says it's difficult to transact. Well, I don't know about that. Ask the girls in Las Vegas who are putting temporary QR codes to their Bitcoin addresses, wallets, and ask them if it's been difficult to transact. I don't think so. It's just ridiculous. I can't even take it serious. And then he says it's not a good store value because it can move 10% on a normal day. Well, in 2008, the Goldman shares were down 64% for the year. Does that mean we shouldn't buy Goldman shares? You know, I just can't help but want to tell this CEO who's about to retire that you can keep doing your vulture work, and if you don't agree with Bitcoin, just stay out of it. That's what I want to say today. So anyway, that is my, oh, and then he finally says, I'm negative, but not hysterical on Bitcoin. Okay. So he's not yelling, fire, fire, but he's negative. Well, I hope he's got a lot of people he can bring water to in China, because that's where he wants to focus on next. Yeah, okay, that's it. That's it, everybody. So long, take care. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll bring you more news daily from Japan. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.